We spent time recently in the Israeli community of Nerim, a kibbutz located about a mile from the Gaza border. Adele Raymer lives in Nerim and joined us to tell her story of how Hamas terror has turned life upside down in her beautiful community. Take a look. Adele, thanks so much for joining us here on The Watchman Show and letting us into your beautiful home here.
Welcome to Kibbutz Nerim.
Yeah, it is great to be here. Tell us a little bit first about the kibbutz.
We're about 450 people who live on the kibbutz, about 200 members. We're an agricultural community. Yeah. Most of our income is from agriculture, avocados and wheat and peanuts and sweet potatoes. It's like a very, usually, 98% of the time, a very quiet, peaceful, beautiful place to live. When I came to live here, it was not a war zone. It was peaceful and quiet, and we used to get in the car and drive to Gaza on a Saturday and go to the beach or go to the open-air markets and do shopping. And in fact, a Gazan in '96 helped build this house. A little bit farther north around Sderot, they started getting rockets before we did. But we would have a rocket every so often and no warning. Just all of a sudden you'd hear a really loud explosion. And
right here in this peaceful, quiet community.
Yeah, yep. And it's just gone and gotten worse. I personally have lived through 3 military operations. 2008-9 for about 3 weeks, and then 2012 was about a week and a half, I think, and then 2014, which was the whole summer, and it was the longest and most violent of the rounds of violence.
Hamas has been bad not only for the communities in southern Israel, they've been bad for their own people in Gaza.
You know, every time I see the Free Gaza thing, I agree with it. Free Gaza from Hamas. I personally am in touch with people in Gaza, and all they want is to be able to put food on their table and to have safety for their children. They want what we want, most of them. But unfortunately, they're all under the Hamas's thumb.
You mentioned that 2014 was particularly violent. You personally experienced this outside of your beautiful home here. Tell us what happened.
We had rockets the whole summer. Numerous times a day there would be incoming rockets.
Right where we're sitting?
We have 0 to 10 seconds to take cover. So where I'm sitting now, to get to that room, there were times that I was sitting in my easy chair watching TV and there was an incoming rocket warning and I didn't even manage to get to the door.
And the door, that room, by the way, is a safe room.
Yeah, yeah.
You have a bomb-proof safe room in your home.
All of the houses in communities now within 7 kilometers of the border have to have a safe room attached to it.
That's mandated.
Yeah.
You must, if you live in these communities near Gaza, you must have a safe room, a bomb shelter in effect, in your house.
Right, because we have bomb shelters from previous wars, but you can't get there in 0 to 10 seconds. So anyway, on the last day of the war, we were getting barrages and I was sitting in the safe room and I heard red alerts one after another and I was on the phone to my friend at the time and I said, this is nuts. And all of a sudden I heard a really loud explosion and the person who was in charge of security came running in and he said, Adele, are you okay? And I said, yeah, why? He said, well, your bedroom has been hit, your house has been hit. So I went outside and I left the safe room and went into my bedroom and there was smoke and gunpowder and shrapnel all over the walls.
Outside of your house?
The inside of my bedroom, the walls were pockmarked. It was kind of amazing.
Thank God you weren't in your bedroom.
You know what? I'm a widow. And I walked into the bedroom and I thought, my husband's looking after me today. Because not one picture was hit. The windows weren't broken. It was like all just on the walls. But if I'd been standing in that room when that mortar hit, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today talking.
Wow. So the mortar hits, but also a rocket has hit outside of your home.
Oh, a rocket just went right into the ground outside the front of my house, and it didn't explode, because when it goes into soft ground, it doesn't always, and it was there for a while. But we had tens of rockets that fell in our community during that summer.
What kind of effect does this have on you, Adele? Look, a mortar right outside your bedroom, a rocket. What kind of effect does this have on you, psychologically, emotionally, and the people here in the kibbutz?
Well, we're all sort of, you can't really call it post-trauma, because post-trauma is a very specific clinical term, but we're all, our nerves are much sharper. So like you'll hear a megaphone starting, the crackle of a megaphone starting, and everybody sort of like jumps because it sounds like the incoming rocket warning. Or you'll hear a motorcycle going by and it somehow reminds you of the sound. I can be in the States in a mall, and all of a sudden I'm like not there, I'm here, and think I have to run.
You're on edge constantly.
Yeah. Your senses are all sharpened. And during the 3.5 years of quiet, things sort of, quieted down. But now that we're back to the rocket fire, like I'll often find myself walking outside and thinking, if there's a red alert, where do I take cover?
These are communities that are very dependent on farming, on agriculture. How have these balloons, which are basically airborne explosive devices, they've scorched thousands of acres of land here in southern Israel, how have they affected life here?
There were a few days here where we had to close the windows because there were fires nearby, and the smoke, people that come from Southern California can identify.
Yeah, the wildfires, of course.
The fires.
Yeah, and that's caused tremendous damage in Southern California.
And that happens like naturally, but here it's on purpose. It's evil because they're using balloons that say I love you, and toys that like airplanes that are just calling kids in.
From like a kid's birthday party, balloons.
Yeah. These
kites they use as well.
Balloons and kites that are just begging kids to come and touch them. So the parents here have been very diligent in warning their children, if you see a balloon, don't go near it.